Look at this swagger. Seriously, have you ever really watched a pigeon walk? It looks like they're trying to audition for a 90s hip-hop video with that constant, heavy head jerk. Most people walk right past these guys and think they're just city birds with a bit of a clumsy, bird-brained strut. We've all seen it 1,000 times, and we usually assume they're just, well, being pigeons. But what if I told you that what looks like a silly habit is actually a high-speed, military-grade visual stabilization system? That pigeon isn't just walking, he is performing a feat of biological engineering that would make a camera gimbal manufacturer jealous. This is the rock pigeon, or more formally, the rock dove. While they are often dismissed as flying rats, these birds are actually absolute legends of the avian world, with a history that spans over 8,000 years of partnership with humans. Did you notice the face? Look at those eyes. Like many birds, pigeons have eyes on the sides of their heads, giving them a massive, nearly panoramic field of view. But because their eyes are fixed in their sockets, they can't move them around like we can to scan the environment. And look at that neck. That shimmer isn't just pretty colour, it's structural colour. Just like the blue of a blue jay, there is often no actual pigment there. Instead, microscopic structures in the feathers act like tiny prisms, scattering light to create those metallic greens and purples. But the most fascinating thing about this bird isn't its tuxedo neck, it's that bob. If you think he's moving his head forward and back just for the fun of it, you're missing the real genius of how a bird sees the world. Here's the crazy part. Pigeons don't actually bob their heads at all. Look at that. If you watch in slow motion, you'll notice that the head isn't moving back and forth. It's actually staying perfectly still while the body moves forward. Scientists call this the thrust and hold phases. While the pigeon's body is steadily advancing, the head snaps into a fixed position in space and stays there, locked in, while the body catches up underneath it. Did you notice? When the body gets as far forward as the neck allows, the head snaps forward again to a new fixed position. Why on earth would they do this? It's for the sake of absolutely stable vision. By holding the head perfectly still between steps, the pigeon gets a crystal clear, blur-free view of everything around it: predators, food, and potential mates. It's essentially the same reason we don't try to read a book while someone is shaking it in front of our face. Now, watch what happens next. Researchers actually proved this was all about vision by putting pigeons on treadmills. No way, right? They found that when a pigeon walks on a treadmill, where the surrounding room stays perfectly still, the pigeon stops bobbing its head. Since the visual environment isn't changing, the bird doesn't need to lock its head to stabilize its view. They even tried blindfolding them. And guess what? No head bobbing. The swagger is entirely a visual hack to help them process data on the move. If you think a brain the size of a marble can't handle that much data, you're in for a shock. Look at that. Those birds are weaving through traffic and trees at 50 miles per hour. Here's the crazy part. The pigeon brain isn't just a primitive version of ours, it's actually wired like a high-end computer. Researchers have mapped the pigeon brain and discovered what they call a small world network. Think of it like Facebook. Different regions of the brain, handling things like spatial orientation, long-term memory, and problem-solving, are connected by a few high-speed hub nodes. These hubs allow information to travel across the entire brain with very few degrees of separation, making their cognitive integration incredibly efficient. This is how they can integrate landmarks, magnetic fields, and even smells into a single mental map while they're flying. Even though their brain architecture is radically different from ours, the wiring diagram of their intelligence is remarkably similar to a human's. Pigeons aren't just good at navigating, they are categorization specialists. Look at that focus. In famous lab studies, pigeons were trained to distinguish between the works of Picasso and Monet. No way! They didn't just memorize the specific paintings, they actually learned the style. If they were shown a Picasso they'd never seen before, they could correctly identify it as a Picasso. They can even recognize individual human faces and distinguish between people who are friendly and people who have chased them away. This means that the pigeon on your balcony probably has a reputation map of everyone in the building. They aren't just looking for crumbs, they're assessing your character.
No way. Fact 1. The math masters. Did you know that pigeons are better at probability than most humans? There is a famous math puzzle called the Monty Hall dilemma. It's a brain teaser about 3 doors that trips up even the smartest university students. But when researchers tested pigeons on a version of this task, the birds figured out the most statistically winning strategy almost immediately. We struggle with the logic, but the pigeon's small world brain just sees the math.
No way! Fact 2. The magnetic superpower. Have you ever wondered how a homing pigeon finds its way back from 1,000 miles away? It isn't just one thing, it's a multi-coordinate spatial grid. They use the sun, they use odor signboards in the wind, and they can even see the Earth's magnetic field. They have a protein in their eyes called cryptochrome that allows them to literally perceive magnetic force as a glowing grid overlaid on the world. To a pigeon, the sky isn't empty. It's a detailed map of invisible lines they can follow home.
So, the next time you see that bob on the sidewalk, remember, you're not looking at a clumsy bird. You're looking at a high-speed processor that is currently locking its head in space to get a 4K view of your face, while its Facebook-like brain wiring calculates the shortest path back to its loft. The birds in our cities have been our neighbours for 8 millennia, and they've spent every second of that time learning how to live alongside us. What birds are you seeing in your neighbourhood right now? Do you have a local pigeon that seems to know your routine? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. Thanks for watching Feather Files. I'll see you in the next one.